The way Zephyr stared at the cursive letters tattooed on my chest was both innocent and intense. "That's my ex-boyfriend's name," I blurted, instantly regretting it as Zephyr pressed closer. A shiver ran through me as Zephyr's scorching kiss landed on my collarbone. His gaze was fixed on those 3 letters. "My ex," I repeated, bracing myself. His composure surprised me. Before I could say anything else, his hands were clasped above my head, his fingers interwoven, trapping me. A searing kiss devoured the skin on my chest. I knew he wanted to erase those letters, to brand me anew. But they were inked, permanent. His efforts, though fervent, were futile. It wasn't that I still harbored feelings for Xander Miles, my ex. It had been 3 years. I simply hadn't gotten around to having the tattoo removed. Work had consumed me. It had become a forgotten detail. A good ex is like a ghost, I reasoned. Xander was more than a ghost. He was ancient history. That night, Zephyr unleashed a relentless energy, a whirlwind of passionate intensity. Countless times, each more desperate than the last. My body ached, my fingers draped limply over the edge of the bed. When I woke, Zephyr was a picture of serenity, one arm folded beneath his head, the other resting gently on my shoulder. He hadn't let me rest even in sleep, the infuriating minx. I dislodged his arm, grabbed my discarded shirt, and stumbled to the bathroom. The sight in the mirror made me gasp. A tapestry of crimson bloomed across my skin, some areas raw and bleeding. The 3 letters XMZ, now outlined in angry red, were particularly glaring. A constellation of love bites dotted my neck. I looked like some sort of deranged giraffe. "Dove, I'm hungry," a voice purred behind me. Zephyr's arms encircled me, his lips finding my earlobe. His voice, a concentrated dose of masculine allure, was intoxicating. I hopped onto the bathroom counter, my legs wrapping around his waist, my arms around his neck. My hands slipped beneath his shirt, tracing a slow, downward path. "Dove, I'm so hot." Hot. I reached for the shower tap. There, little sparrow. All better now. Sleeping with my best friend's younger brother wasn't exactly virtuous. I could practically see Seraphina wielding a samurai sword, her eyes blazing with fury. "Dove Atticus, you've crossed a line. Even my brother isn't safe." If I felt any remorse, it was fleeting. Virtue was a concept I hadn't fully grasped. Seraphina, I suspected, had a better handle on it. Hours later, we emerged from the bathroom, ravenous. "Sparrow, what do you fancy?" "I'll make you anything," I cooed, my voice dripping with honey, my fingers dancing across his abs. He looked adorable, his eyes bright and playful, cradling a mug of herbal tea I'd just brewed. Boys needed their nourishment, after all. "Anything you make, Dove. But I'd rather devour you." He planted a playful bite on my shoulder, his gaze suddenly dimming. He was thinking about Xander, I knew it. "Dove, haven't you forgotten him?" he mumbled, his lip trembling, tears welling up. How could I not melt? "Damn Xander, haunting us even now." "Sparrow, you're my favorite," I whispered, wiping away the threatening tears. "You're the only one I want." The word favorite ignited a spark in his eyes. He grabbed my wrist. "Truly? You like me?" I nodded, unwavering. Boys were so easily swayed by sweet nothings. Of course, I liked him. I was orchestrating this entire charade, wasn't I? "I like you too, Dove. Forever." He squeezed me tight. His breath fanned across my skin, each movement a possessive declaration, "You're mine." I looked at him, vibrant and alive, my hand stroking his hair, a hunter savoring the thrill of the chase. "Seraphina, your brother is mine for the taking." They say the course of true love never did run smooth. I found that sentiment rather quaint. Between Zephyr and me, there was only the thinnest of membranes. One of us would break through, it was only a matter of time. Zephyr was technically my junior. I'd graduated the same year Seraphina did, the year he started. I'd heard countless tales of his exploits. Back then, I'd been blinded by my infatuation with Xander, going so far as to tattoo his initials on my chest as some grand gesture of love. Youthful folly. I should have known better than to choose a cad over a captivating young man like Zephyr. Seraphina's Zephyr was a notorious bad boy, smoking, drinking, gaming, and chasing skirts. She'd spent countless hours at the police station, signing his release forms. My impression of him, based entirely on her exasperated accounts, had been decidedly negative. "I prefer well-behaved boys," I'd once declared. "Your wild child brother is not my cup of tea." Now my tastes had evolved. I had a new appreciation for wild. To capture Zephyr's heart, I employed every resource at my disposal. I'd been a student leader and still had connections. It was child's play to discover Zephyr's schedule, his dorm room, even which girls had left him love notes and lunchboxes. I knew his every move. I became his shadow. What a coincidence, Sparrow. Fancy meeting you here, I'd chirp, plopping down beside him in class, the cafeteria, even the library. He was no match for my relentless charm offensive. Are you sure it's coincidence? He'd ask, his eyes searching mine. Perhaps it was more of a fateful entanglement. I'd been making my presence undeniably known. Sparrow, I hear you're quite the drinker. I'm feeling down. Keep me company. I'd purr, strategically lowering my neckline. He'd glance, then quickly avert his gaze. Drinking is bad for you, Dove. And your dress. I smiled inwardly. He was playing coy. This Zephyr was far more endearing than Seraphina's horror stories suggested. The university's annual basketball tournament presented the perfect opportunity. Zephyr was the star center. I chose a white sundress, echoing his jersey with a strategically placed lace-up back and my favorite strappy heels. Pure yet alluring, I turned heads wherever I went. My makeup was meticulously crafted to appear effortless. When I arrived at the court, the air crackled with youthful energy. Zephyr spotted me, waved enthusiastically, and executed a flawless layup. My heart skipped a beat. This was the Zephyr I craved. The stands were packed. My heels were killing me. I bent down, massaging my aching feet. Dove, Zephyr asked me to bring you to the bench. There are seats there, a teammate grinned, leading me away. My little Sparrow was learning. He'd even become Zephyr, the team captain. I watched him from the sidelines, his white jersey clinging to his sweat-drenched body, his physique a masterpiece of muscle and sinew. He caught my gaze, his eyes shining. Behind me, a gaggle of girls whispered. She's gorgeous. Her skin is amazing. Wow, she's sitting on the bench. I want to sit there too. Look, look. My little Zephyr is so handsome. Little Zephyr? How intimate. I turned, spotting the competition. Honey, you don't stand a chance, I thought, a predatory gleam in my eye. He's mine. Zephyr's team won by a landslide. He was named MVP. Girls flocked to him with flowers, drinks, and love letters. He refused them all. Dove, were you watching me? He asked, breathless, his eyes sparkling as he jogged over. I smiled, the scent of victory in the air. I haven't seen you in ages, Sparrow. Heard you had a game, thought I'd check it out. After a week of relentless pursuit, I'd vanished, ignoring his calls and texts. A little push and pull never hurt. We celebrated his victory with a romantic dinner, a couple's special, complete with candles and swan-shaped napkins. I encouraged him to drink. Go on, Sparrow. It's a celebration. I'm here. Yes, I was here. And once he was sufficiently inebriated, we ended up at a private cinema. I'd chosen a film with plenty of kissing and suggestive scenes. Zephyr fidgeted beside me, nervously picking at his nails and tugging at his pants. Relax, Sparrow, I thought. I'll be gentle. As the lights dimmed, I slipped off my jacket, baring my shoulders. The on-screen couple were about to engage in a passionate embrace. I'd planned to drape myself across Zephyr, my legs straddling his lap, my lips finding his. Dove, what are you doing? His sudden move caught me off guard. He was on top of me, pinning me to the couch, his breath hot against my ear. Dove, are you going to take responsibility for this? Responsibility? My mind went blank. He was exuding a potent, intoxicating masculinity. Had I been outmaneuvered? Before I could process anything, his lips were on mine, hot and demanding. Dove, you make my heart race. You're beautiful. He was the hunter now, and I, the unsuspecting prey. When we finally broke apart, it felt like the slow, sweet stretch of melted caramel. My cheeks burned, my lipstick smeared. As we left, I was still in a daze. I overheard the cinema staff whispering, kids these days. So much energy. There was no turning back. Back home, I showered and changed into my pre-planned battle attire, complete with a playful headband. That night, a blur of sensations, I vaguely remember him asking about the tattoo. I'd answered honestly. Then, he'd been a force of nature, leaving me shattered. The next morning, I'd stared at the marks on my chest, a mixture of tenderness and apprehension. Later, I'd Googled, is 3 hours normal? And messaged a disgruntled online retailer. Your high-quality lingerie ripped. Refund. Then, I'd found a new shop and placed another order. Sparrow, you're addictive. It was time to deliver Seraphina her gift. I'd never forget the afternoon I'd gone to Xander's apartment, a homemade cake in one hand, a bouquet of roses in the other. My heart had pounded with nervous anticipation. Xander, I'd planned to say, I've graduated. Will you marry me? I even bought matching silver rings, envisioning him slipping one onto my finger, kneeling before me. Dove, I'll love you forever. I wasn't afraid to pursue what I wanted. For Xander, I'd do anything. The tattoo needle had pierced my skin, a sharp, stinging pain. I'd gritted my teeth, tears blurring my vision. A testament to my love, a symbol of my devotion. Devotion, it turned out, was synonymous with self-destruction. What are you two doing? The cake slipped from my grasp, shattering on the floor. Seraphina stood in the doorway, wrapped in a towel, her wet hair clinging to her shoulders, her legs gleaming white, a telltale red mark on her arm. Xander wore a white t-shirt, plastered to his chest. My best friend and my boyfriend. How could I have been so blind? In that moment of utter devastation, I'd simply run. Tears streaming down my face, I'd fled. I'd trusted Seraphina implicitly, loved Xander with all my heart. Love, it seemed, bred vulnerability. 3 years, I murmured against Zephyr's ear, nipping his lobe. This is your punishment, Sparrow. He pulled me closer, his warmth enveloping me. Dove, I've missed you so much. His embrace was addictive. He was a vortex, pulling me in, erasing all rational thought. If revenge had been my initial motivation, it had morphed into something far more complex. A dangerous game of the heart. Zephyr had classes to attend, stealing moments with me whenever he could. Dove, I don't want to go to class today. I want to be with you, he'd whine, nuzzling against me like a puppy. I like boys who study hard, Sparrow. Be good. I stroked his hair, imagining puppy ears drooping sadly. I'd fallen for Xander, in part, because of his academic prowess and leadership. Roles. I still harbored those aspirations, wanting Zephyr to shine, to surpass Xander. To give me the satisfaction of declaring, I'm better off without you. He loves me more. Zephyr was my pawn, my key to winning this twisted game. Be a good boy, Sparrow. I'll pick you up later, take you somewhere nice. He left reluctantly, after a lingering farewell. Watching him go, I saw both Zephyr and Xander in his retreating form. I drove to the mall near Zephyr's university, picking up groceries and browsing for a gift for my Sparrow. Boys needed to be kept happy, lest they turn and bite. In a menswear store, I imagined Zephyr in a suit, sharp, confident, his physique accentuated by tailored lines. Long time no see. The familiar voice sent a chill down my spine. 3 years. I should have felt something, but my heart remained a still, cold pool. I kept walking. Dove, you're still so childish. Can't you grow up? Xander grabbed my wrist, his voice tight. The revulsion was immediate. Childish? He dared? Don't touch me. You disgust me. I wrenched my hand free. My phone rang. Zephyr's custom ring-one, a silly, playful tune he'd recorded himself. I deliberately prolonged the moment, answering in front of Xander. Dove, Dove, my naughty dove. Kisses. Hugs. His voice, bright and cheerful, eased the knot in my stomach. Dove, I'm free tonight. Where are you? I miss you. A smile played on my lips. I'm at the mall. I'll come find you later. Dove, do you miss me? Of course, Sparrow. Terribly. I emphasized the word, lacing it with playful innuendo. Xander's face darkened. He snatched the phone, ending the call, his grip tightening on my shoulders. Dove, you know I love you. Why are you doing this to me? The pain in my shoulders was nothing compared to the agony I'd felt 3 years ago. Where did he get the audacity to assume I still loved him? Perhaps, once, I'd been his devoted pet, blindly loyal. But he'd broken that loyalty. I don't love you, Xander. Let me go. His eyes narrowed, his grip intensifying. Don't play games with me. My phone rang again. Zephyr. He must be worried. Xander's eyes reddened, his grip like a vice. Xander, you're hurting me. Let go. Give me my phone. He answered Zephyr's call. Dove is mine. Stay away from her, or you'll regret it. You're insane, Xander. I finally broke free. You're a slut. He spat the word, his hand ripping at my shoulder, exposing the crimson marks, the faint outline of Xander's initials. I slapped him. Hard. His lips split, blood welling up. You're pathetic, he snarled. And you and Seraphina are what? Soulmates? You're a disgrace. I retorted. Oh, I almost forgot. You and Seraphina are getting married. Congratulations. You deserve each other. Rot together. I stormed out, the image of Zephyr's worried face flashing before my eyes. Had he overheard? Was he upset? In that moment, the truth slammed into me. I cared. Deeply. I couldn't bear the thought of anyone hurting him. I raced to his university, buying his favorite strawberry cake on the way. He was waiting outside, his usual cheerful self, his eyes lighting up when he saw me. Dove. You came? And you brought cake. The forced cheerfulness broke my heart. He bottled everything up, my sweet, sensitive sparrow. He'd never burden anyone with his pain. Sparrow, I said, taking his hand. Let's go somewhere. He looked confused, but I silenced his questions with a kiss. Be good, Sparrow. I'll take responsibility. If revenge had been my starting point, it was no longer my destination. Seraphina, I thought, your brother is mine now. Our score will be settled separately. I drove us to the outskirts of town, the speedometer hitting 80, the summer wind whipping through our hair. Zephyr, ever compliant, join me in my recklessness. We arrived at a tattoo parlor. I want this removed, I announced, pointing to the faded letters. And I want my boyfriend's name tattooed on my back, my arms, my chest, my legs, my ankles, everywhere. My voice was bold, but my hand trembled as I held Zephyr's. His heart hammered against his ribs. Mine echoed the frantic rhythm. The tattoo artist chuckled. He'd never had a request quite like this. Are you sure? Absolutely. Anything for my sparrow. Zephyr tugged at the artist's sleeve, his eyes wide with worry. Does it hurt a lot? A little, the artist admitted. Zephyr rushed back to my side. Dove, maybe, don't. It'll hurt. I suspected he was playing coy now. Okay, how about just one, matching ones? On our fingers. He offered his pinky, his eyes sparkling, his tongue darting out in a quick, adorable lick. I almost bit him. He watched intently as the needle pierced my skin, clutching my hand, his palm slick with sweat, his lip trembling. Later, he confessed he'd been terrified, convinced the needle was burning my flesh. He was the most precious creature on earth. We interlocked our pinkies, admiring our matching tattoos, GC on mine, LDA on his. Zephyr and Dove, together forever, he declared, his eyes shining. Dove, you're the one I want to protect. I met his gaze. Sparrow, I can't wait. That night was different. The faded letters on my chest were replaced by a new inscription, GC. The game was over. This was no longer a trial. This was love. Seraphina, I thought, a slow smile spreading across my face. Your gift is about to be delivered. The following afternoon, I met Seraphina. We sat like adversaries, a chasm of silence between us. I ordered a strawberry cappuccino, Zephyr's favorite. She opted for ice water. There were no tearful apologies, no recriminations, none of the dramatic confrontations I'd imagined. I slid a stack of photos across the table, snapshots of our shared past, graduation pictures, images of us laughing, embracing. What's the meaning of this? I asked, my voice cold. A storm of emotions raged within me. Gratitude for Seraphina for giving me Zephyr, but also a burning resentment. She'd witnessed my devotion to Xander, my utter humiliation. Had she enjoyed watching my downfall? What had she gained? Seraphina picked up the photos, her fingers tracing the outlines of our smiling faces. She admitted her regret, her guilt. She'd been wrong to deceive me. Regret doesn't change the past, I snapped. Do you have any idea how much I suffered? Seraphina, once the untouchable campus queen, the reigning star of the literature department, now looked defeated. Her perfect facade had only ever been cracked by the antics of her troublesome younger brother. We'd met at a university event. I'd been captivated by her talent, she by my charisma. We'd become inseparable, the iconic duo of our graduating class. Only I knew about her. Rebellious brother, a secret she guarded closely. Suitors lined up for Seraphina, showering her with love letters and roses. Then Xander had arrived, and everything changed. Did you receive my gift? I asked, a sly smile playing on my lips. For 3 years, I'd ensured that Xander received heartfelt messages from me on every significant occasion, declarations of love, pleas for his return. Messages Seraphina, his fiancée, would undoubtedly intercept. Oh, was her only response. Her lack of reaction startled me. Her love for Xander had been as intense as mine. Now, yet, they were engaged. Had I misjudged her? Was she more complex than I'd imagined? She took a long sip of ice water, the chills seeming to emanate from within her. Then, she delivered her own gift, a revelation that solidified my resolve. I won't let Xander get away with this, I vowed, my voice hardening. Exhausted, I arrived home, expecting to find Zephyr bustling around the kitchen in his favorite strawberry print apron, his usual clumsy self, probably about to burn dinner. But the apartment was empty. His shoes weren't by the door. It was past 9. Where was he? His last text message, Dove, I bought ribs and corn. Making you soup after class. I called. No answer. I texted. Silence. I even called Serafina. She hadn't seen him. Panic set in. I raced to the university, contacting his professors, roommates, even former classmates. No one had seen him since that morning. He hadn't attended any classes. One roommate mentioned a phone call, a hurried departure. Security footage showed him getting into a black sedan. The driver's face was obscured. Then, the call from the hospital. Are you a relative of Zephyr Gray? He'd been assaulted. A stranger had found him and called an ambulance. Head trauma, severe blood loss. He was in surgery. Serafina arrived at the hospital shortly after me. We sat side by side outside the operating room, the imagined scenarios of our confrontation dissolving into the stark reality of Zephyr's critical condition. When did it start? She asked. A few months ago, I replied, a trace of defiance in my voice. Good, she said, her response unsettling. No anger, no resentment. Just, good. I realized, with a jolt, that in our silent battle, I'd consistently underestimated her. Then, the question that shattered my composure, do you know who did this to him? The name hit me like a physical blow. Xander? Is he insane? My voice echoed in the sterile corridor. In that sterile, hushed space, Serafina and I forged a plan. Xander, the self-preserving coward, had not only hurt me, but now, he'd harmed her brother. He would pay. Your injuries, you should have them looked at, I said, my voice softening as I looked at Serafina. A faint smile touched her lips. It's nothing. I'm used to it. The words sent a chill down my spine. Used to it? How could anyone get used to such brutality? I dragged her to the emergency room, ignoring her protests. The sight that greeted me was horrifying. Beneath her clothes, Serafina's body was a canvas of scars, old and new, a testament to years of systematic abuse. Whip marks crisscrossed her skin, particularly around her neck, wrists, and ankles. And on her left breast, the same 3 letters, XMZ. He says I'm his pet, she sobbed, her voice muffled against my shoulder. A mark of ownership. My heart ached for her. She'd endured this for years, silently suffering, carrying the weight of my betrayal as well. Xander had manipulated us both, playing us against each other. He'd demanded the tattoo as a proof of my love, using my insecurity to control me. Serafina had tried to intervene, but each attempt had been met with escalating violence. Zephyr had been her secret, a vulnerability she'd shielded from Xander's cruelty. She'd protected him, kept him hidden, knowing the depths of Xander's depravity. Serafina, what are you going to do? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. A chilling smile transformed her face. Revenge. The doctor confirmed it. Abuse. We could go to the police. But that felt inadequate. 6 years of torment couldn't be dismissed with a simple arrest. Xander had destroyed her, and he'd tried to destroy me. He would pay a far higher price. Zephyr's surgery lasted 12 hours. Serafina left before it ended. She had her own battle to fight. Her temporary freedom had been bought with a terrible promise to marry Xander, to become his willing slave. I sat by Zephyr's bedside, his head bandaged, his face pale. Sparrow, I looked away for one afternoon, and this is what happens? I tucked the blanket around him, tears streaming down my face. Sparrow, look at me. I've missed you so much. You're so sweet, so caring, so adorably clueless, always smiling. His hand was icy cold. I rubbed it between mine, trying to warm him, my heart heavy with fear. I pulled out a pair of matching rings, a silent promise. I couldn't risk losing him. Sparrow, put this on. You're mine now. No take-backs. I kissed his ring finger. As I gathered his blood-stained clothes, my fingers brushed against something hard in his pocket. A recording pen. I listened to the conversation, Zephyr's voice trembling with defiance. I told you to stay away from Dove. She's mine. You don't deserve her. She deserves better. Don't push me. You'll regret it. She's more important to me than my own life. Touch her and I'll kill you. I sank to the floor, sobbing uncontrollably. My brave, foolish sparrow. Seraphina called. The plan was moving forward. It was time. I agreed. We couldn't endure this any longer. Xander would pay with his life. I visited Zephyr in the hospital. He touched his bandaged head, a sheepish grin spreading across his face. Dove, I didn't mean to. I know I messed up. Don't be mad. He tugged at my sleeve, his eyes pleading. Dove, why are you crying? He reached out, attempting to wipe away my tears. I want a kiss, I demanded, my voice thick with emotion. He leaned in, his lips soft and sweet against mine. I burst into tears again, clutching him tight. I've missed you so much. You have to make it up to me. His eyes lit up at the word make up. There were nurses nearby, but I didn't care. In that moment, I knew. This was love. Unconditional, unreserved, undeniable. How do you want me to make it up to you, Dove? He whispered, his eyes twinkling. You know exactly how, I replied, my voice husky. The next day, Seraphina sent me a package. The contents were chilling. Are you sure you can do this? I asked, my voice filled with concern. Maybe, she replied, a strange calm in her voice. She wouldn't waste her life on Xander. She deserved a fresh start. On her wedding day, Seraphina looked radiant, her makeup flawless, her white gown a stark contrast to the hidden scars beneath. This, she knew, would be her final act. Her groom, Xander, the man who claimed to love her, who'd enslaved and tormented her for 6 years. Then I, her best friend, had walked into his life, and he'd drawn me into his web of manipulation, Seraphina forced to watch, powerless to intervene. Except for Zephyr. That had been her masterstroke. He'd been her secret weapon, a vulnerability Xander had never known. She'd endured, she'd plotted, and now her moment had arrived. Seraphina drove along the winding mountain road, the trees a blur of green. This stretch of highway was notorious for accidents. The car stereo played the song that had been playing the day she met Xander, a bittersweet love song. Memories, like caged beasts, softened by time. Unclenching my fist, I find freedom. Xander slept peacefully in the passenger seat. It had been a long time since they'd been this close, this peaceful. You're awake? She asked, a gentle smile gracing her lips as he stirred. She looked breathtakingly beautiful. What? What are you doing? Xander's voice was filled with sudden terror. He was afraid of dying. He loved life too much, loved too many women to be confined to. A single fate. He'd preached loyalty to Seraphina, demanded her absolute obedience, while indulging his own insatiable desires. A hypocrite to the end. Don't you think I look beautiful today, Xander? Seraphina continued driving, her smile unwavering. He tried to grab the steering wheel, but his body betrayed him. He was weak, his movements sluggish. Stop the car. Are you crazy? Don't worry. I just gave you something to help you relax. Her voice was soothing, almost maternal. Only the livid scars on her neck marred the image of bridal serenity. Xander's breath came in ragged gasps, his face ashen. The water. The water had been laced with something. It didn't matter now. It had given him a good night's sleep, eased his anxieties. He should be grateful. Seraphina pressed down on the accelerator. Time was running out. 7 years, Xander. 7 years of hell. You isolated me, controlled me, tortured me. Then you targeted Dove, my best friend. You said you loved me, loved her. What does love even mean to you? Why is it so cheap, so disposable? What am I to you? What was Dove? I hate you, Xander. I despise you. I wish I could tear you apart, make you suffer. He fumbled for the door handle. You didn't know, did you? Zephyr is my brother. Xander's eyes widened in horror. If he'd known, he would have killed Zephyr. He hadn't been merciful, just careless. Seraphina had run out of road, both literally and metaphorically. The trees rushed past. She slammed her foot down on the accelerator, her voice rising to a scream. Xander, if there's a next life, I hope I never meet you again. Die. The car hurtled over the cliff edge, a white blur against the green backdrop, plummeting into the abyss. Xander's carefully constructed life, his carefully crafted persona, shattered in an instant. Serafina, too, had reached her breaking point. The white dress, a symbol of purity and new beginnings, became a shroud. As Xander lay dying, his body broken, Serafina, with a final, defiant act, placed a dagger in his hand. Then, with a faint smile on her lips, she closed her eyes, the image of their first meeting flashing before her, a chance encounter at a convenience store, a shared smile, the start of a love song that had turned into a dirge. Tears streamed down my face as I watched the mangled wreckage being pulled from the ravine. I knew the price Serafina had paid. 6 years of her life, her love, ultimately, her life itself. I walked into the police station, Serafina's meticulously documented evidence in hand. 6 years of abuse, a pattern of manipulation and violence. I want to report a crime, I said, my voice steady. At the crash site, amidst the debris, I saw a flicker of movement. She's alive. Get an ambulance. As they lifted Serafina onto a stretcher, her white dress stained crimson, she opened her eyes, a faint smile acknowledging my presence. She'd won. The evidence was overwhelming. Xander's fingerprints on the dagger, Zephyr's recorded threats, Serafina's documented injuries. The police ruled it a murder-suicide, Serafina a victim acting in self-defense. Xander's death was our collective salvation. Zephyr, his arm around my waist, a bouquet of flowers in his other hand, stood beside Serafina's hospital bed. "Serafina, are you feeling better?" I asked, my voice gentle. Zephyr fussed over me, placing a cushion on my chair. "Sit here, Dove. It's more comfortable." Serafina, confined to her bed for weeks, rolled her eyes. "Zephyr, I'm your sister. You never fuss over me like this." He grinned, glancing at me, then back at his sister. "What can I say? Girlfriends come first." He winked playfully. "Disgusting," Serafina muttered. "I'm so jealous." We drove to the mountains before dawn, Zephyr insistent on showing me the sunrise. We sat huddled together on a rock, watching the sky blaze with color. "Why didn't you tell me?" I asked, breaking the silence. "Tell you what?" "About you and Serafina. You knew, didn't you?" He smiled, the rising sun casting a warm glow on his face. He turned to me, his lips brushing my cheek. "Dove, I've liked you for a very long time.